If you can't kill a boss, no reason why you can't look like one. Moogle putting the wow in transmogs. Straight out of the forest, we're going to kick off with the Shoulders Veil of the Turning Leaves, which is, of course, his Black Temple. That's the BC version, about 20% drop rate for those old tier shoulders. Moving on, the chest, pretty simple to get. Gypsy Tunic, the Dead Mines. As you can see, the boss, and best bet, probably just step up, buy it on the auction house. Now we're going to move on to the belt, which is being shown by a Worgen Druid, Tyrannical Gladiator's Belt of Cruelty, which of course is from the Cata PvP vendor. Just one mark of honor to pick up the belt. Horde belt be a little bit different, so you're going to have to make a substitution there. The legs, Gypsy Trousers, Darkshore, Strider, Clutch Mother, which sounds very spider-like to me. Of course, you can buy it on the auction house, but it's a decent drop rate if you find a rare, 55% drop rate. Zandalari Troll stepping up, showing the Barkhide Treads, Trial of the Champion, Edric the Pure, about a 12% drop rate for those feet that you really can't exactly see that well. On the Zandalari Troll, Bare Mantle Paws, the Burning Throne, Garathi Annihilators, and you got about a low drop rate for those hands from the Druid tier of Legion. The back, Hellfire Citadel, Siege Master Marduk. Kind of a fair drop rate to pick up that back piece. Moving on to the head, Helm of Imagined Horrors, Hellfire Citadel Mythic, Shadowlord Iskar, decent drop rate on that. And the weapon, Hellfire Citadel Mythic as well. Killrock Deadeye is the boss. Rather simple and kind of diverse set here, but super easy to pick up. Cataclysm, Gladiators, Dragonhide Spolders, Cata PvP vendor, which of course is located Stormwind or Orgrimmar. 3 marks of honor to pick that up. The chest, Ulduar is the place. General Vezix is the boss. Kind of a fair drop rate for that Wrath of the Lich King tier leather robe. Now we're going to move on to a Lady Worgen and the belt, which is the Seal of Karmic Return, Siege of Orgrimmar Mythic, Garrosh Hellscream, 22% on the drop rate for that belt from, of course, Mist of Pandaria. The back, Nano Precise Cape, which is something you can buy, basically, Stormwind Orgrimmar, Valor Quartermaster, 275 gold for the Cata Cape. Moving on to a dude who is a druid, and he's a night elf. Forest leather boots, Stockades is the place. Various mobs, or you can just step up, buy it on the auction house. Kind of a fair drop right there. Moving on to the hands, Oathclaw Gauntlets, Hellfire Citadel Heroic, Soulbound Constructs, and you got about a 14% drop rate for the hands. And a Lady Tarn is stepping up to show the headpiece, Warmongering Gladiator's Helm. If you're Horde, it will be Wild Gladiator's Helm. 3 marks of honor, regardless of your faction, to pick that up. And last but not least, the weapon is a staff out of Siege of Orgrimmar. Galacris is the boss, 16% on the drop rate for the staff. Got a golden look with red and blue, and I think it really works for druids. The shoulders are the Siege of Orgrimmar is the place. Mythic version, Iron Juggernaut drops those shoulders. Those are tier shoulders. Fearless Combatant Leather Tunic, of course, Legion PvP vendor. 3 marks of honor being correct. You probably have to be, well, eventually to be 3 marks of honor. That's part of the reason why I put it there, but right now, you got to buy the whole set, or you might already have it. Dameron's Belt, Siege of Orgrimmar Mythic, part of the same tier set as the belt and the shoulders and the headpiece. Fearless Combatants Leather Laggards, of course, Legion PvP vendor, 3 marks of honor, which is thinking ahead of time there, thinking eventually that's what it's going to cost you. Blizzard will probably implement that in the next X-Pack. Stone Toes, Tormented Tread, Siege of Orgrimmar, Suntender Heart, 16% on the drop rate for the feet. Next up, the hands are straight out of Siege of Orgrimmar Mythic. Just going to have to farm it off of various mobs. Kind of a fair drop rate to pick up those gloves. Next up, we have a Lady Kultiran showing the Korkron Elite Skull Mask, which, of course, as I said before, that's part of a rogue tier, but this is the pieces that the druids can pick up. Daybreak Cape, Terrace of the Endless Spring, Cache of Sulong, and you got about a 20% drop rate. Cape really makes this set, I think. And last, the weapon, Gahoon, 5% drop rate. This is a Druid set I did a long time ago, one of the first xmog videos I ever did, but I made a few changes here. Obviously, this goes back a long time ago, so the Burning Throne wasn't around, so that's one of the changes. Burning Throne, those green ball shoulders. The chest, Dead Mind's Heroic Foe, Reaper 5,000, 5% on the drop rate for that set from Cata. That's a drop set from Cata. The belt, Damron's Belt of Darkness. That's the LFR version out of Siege of Orgrimmar, Earthbreaker Harem. 14% on the drop rate for the belt. Now we're going to move on to the legs, which we can pick up out of the Lost City of Tol'vir. Siamat is the boss, 8% on the drop rate, so that is another dungeon that you can do once a day if you go heroic, or multiple times if you don't. The feet, Treads of Violent Intrusion, Tomb of Sargeras Heroic, Tidescale Seacaller, 8% on the drop rate for those particular green-gray feet. So that green-gray, I think, really looking cool. Sticking with the Cultiran to show the hands. Flat Sam, he is, I believe, a rare in High Mountain. Kind of a fair drop rate to pick up those hands. Next up, actually, I think he's a demon from Demon Invasion, so you're going to have to really target that with great precision. Next up, the head, Kor'kron Elite Skull Mask, part of the same tier set as the boots and the belt and the headpiece, obviously. And the weapon, Siege of Orgrimmar LFR Galakris is the boss, 16% on the drop rate. Got a Worgen dude who's going to show us the Prideful Gladiators Kodo Hide Spalders. My PvP vendor, 3 marks of honor to pick up those Spalders, which very easy to get from Mist of Pandaria. The chess piece of Suspicion, Naxxramas, normal mode, 25-man, Instructor Resuvius. Make sure you do your homework, but if you don't, you could always show them up, take them out. Ship Swallower's Belt, the Eternal Palace, Blackwater Behemoths, drop the belt at about a 5% drop rate, kind of a fair drop rate there. Next up, we're going to stick with the Lady Night Elf and the legs, Infectious Skitterer Leggings. Naxxramas, 25-man, normal mode. Maxna is the boss, 15% on the drop rate for the legs from Wrath of the Lich King. The feet, straight out of Warlords of Draenor, the fun. Tyrant Velhari, 15% drop rate for the Oppressors. Merciless Treads doing the spin on the Tauren there, showing that back, which we'll get to in a second. The gloves are out of Eye of Azshara. Bitter Brine Scavenger is the boss. About a 14% drop rate for that. Moving on, the High Tinker's Cape, Battle of Dazalahar, High Tinker Mechatork. Quickly becoming one of my more favorite capes in the game. Definitely liking that. Wild Gladiator's Helm if you're Alliance. Warmongering if you're Horde. And the weapon is straight out of Dragon Soul LFR from an Elementium Fragment. Lady Worgen's nice enough to show us the shoulders, which I think really work that RP value of Druids here. Raven Wing, Pauldrons, Old Hillsbrad Foothills, which of course is from BC. Lieutenant Drake, 12% on the drop rate for those BC Pauldrons. And the Chemical Resistant Apron, Tanan Jungle, Fellsmith, Damorka. Very Klingon-like name. Moving on, the belt, Abandoned Zandalari Moonstrap. Perfect name for any given druid. Throne of Thunder LFR, various mobs. Kind of a fair drop rate to pick up the belt. I think you might be able to buy it from the Shadowpan vendor as well. Not 100% sure. That'd be the Assault vendor for Shadowpan. The back, we've seen this many times. Karazhan BC version, Terrestrian Hillhoof drops the Gildian Thorium Cloak. Now we have a dude Night Elf showing the feet, which are the Oppressors, Merciless Treads, Hellfire Citadel Heroic, Tyrant Velhari, about a 16% drop rate for the boots. Now we're going to go to the gloves, which you can pick up at Hellfire Citadel Heroic. Soulbound Constructs, 14% on the drop rate for the Oathclaw Gauntlets, part of the old school Druid tier set. Now we have a Zandalari Lady showing the Helm of Imagined Horrors, Hellfire Citadel Heroic, Shadowlord Iskar, 14% on the drop rate for the headpiece. And the weapon will close us out. Wild Combatants, Bone Grinder if you're Horde, Warmongering, Legion PvP vendor. 5 marks of honor is what it's eventually going to cost, but now you got to buy the whole set. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Luxeley, and I'm going to leave you with a final thought, and that is, whatever it is by you, whether it is the morning, the afternoon, or the night, make your day epic.